Hey everyone! On today's video, I'm sharing 5 beautiful fall DIYs. Most of the supplies are from Dollar Tree, so each only cost a few dollars to make. So let's get started! For the first DIY, I picked up this MDF pumpkin from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it a couple of colors. So first, I apply tape, making sure the bottom of the tape is lined close to the center. I'm going to paint the bottom half with Waverly Antique Wax. I'm using a damp cloth to apply the wax, and I'm being extra careful around the tape because I don't want any of the color seeping through. Once that has been applied all over, I use the clean side of the cloth to wipe out any excess. Then I carefully remove the tape. I reapply the tape, lining up the cleaner side of it towards the center painted edge. I'm going to paint the top half black with this acrylic paint from Rich Art, which I got from Dollar Tree. So with a foam brush, I paint that on all over, being extra careful around the tape's edge. I bought a pack of fall words from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use Welcome Fall on the pumpkin. I will be painting it with white acrylic paint, and I brush that on all over the surface and sides. Then I carefully remove the tape. Wow, look how beautiful it looks already. I apply some glue on the back of Welcome Fall, and I place that towards the right side of the pumpkin. I tie a thicker jute cord on the handle, and I am done. A very quick and easy DIY. I really love how this turned out. This video is a fall collaboration with Jelena from BlondieNextDoor. She is very creative and talented. She has such amazing ideas and DIYs that will inspire you, and I am such a fan of hers. So please make sure to check out her video. I will have it linked below as well as her channel. I had an extra 24-inch 1x2-inch wood from a previous DIY. It came in a pack of 4 from Home Depot. You can also find these a foot long at Dollar Tree as well. I trimmed them down to the following measurements. I'll be painting them orange, and I'm using Rich Art Orange from Dollar Tree, which is a little too bright, so I will be muting it down with some gray. The gray was a little too light, so I added a drop or 2 of black. With a foam brush, I paint that on the wood, and I really love how this orange turned out. Now it will darken a bit once it dries. I want it to look naturally distressed, so with a sanding sheet, I remove some of the paint. I'm going to stack the wood to make a pumpkin, and I start off with a smaller wood, apply glue on that, and then sandwiching the 2 taller wood pieces in the center. Then topping it off with the smaller one. For the stem, I picked some sticks from my yard, and I trimmed it down, and I glue that on top. You can embellish the pumpkin with raffia, ribbons, greenery, or leave it as is. This ribbon's from Dollar Tree, and I just cut off a piece and tie a bow. This rustic pumpkin was very easy to make, and it came out adorable. For the next DIY, I'm going to be using this wooden wall shelf from Dollar Tree. I want to make a wooden tray to display some fall decor. I'll also be using 8 wooden craft cubes and about 4 bamboo skewers. These are thicker than the ones you get at Dollar Tree. I take out the wood, and I'll be saving the other pieces for another DIY. I'm going to stain the wood with the shade Early American from Varathane, but you can certainly paint whatever color you prefer. And I just apply that with a cloth. Then I take a skewer and mark the height of the wood, and I trim down the skewers so that I have 8 of them at that height. I paint them black with black acrylic paint. And then I paint the cubes as well, avoiding the top and bottom because I will be applying glue on those areas. I take a craft cube and place that on the corner, and then I take a paint stick and I use that to make sure it goes on evenly on the corner. I then apply the rest of the cubes using the paint stick to make sure it's placed evenly. Then I turn it over and glue down the rest of the cubes, aligning it with the cubes above it so that it looks like one long piece. For the handles, I was going to glue 4 skewers side by side, but then ended up liking 3 spaced out instead. So I painted the tops of the cubes before gluing down the skewers. I apply some wood glue on the skewers and blocks, and then I glue them down, 3 on each side spaced out evenly. Once it has dried, I do seal it and I am done. This really came out beautiful. I love the black and the wood, and it's perfect for displaying any fall decor. For the next DIY, I'm going to be making some antique looking fall blocks. And I'll be using this pack of foam dice from Dollar Tree. The black circles are difficult to cover up with the paint I'm going to apply, so first I take them outside and spray paint them gold. You still see the circles, but I will be covering it up with this beautiful metallic antique gold paint from Folk Art. With a foam brush, I apply the paint all over, making sure to cover up the black underneath. This is such a pretty color. I bought these letter stickers from Dollar Tree, which are the perfect height for the blocks, and I'll be sticking the word fall on the blocks. I want to blend the letters on the blocks, so I lightly brush the antique gold over them. I make sure to dab out as much paint that's on the brush before going over the letters. And finally, to make it look even more antique, I apply a small amount of Waverly Antique Wax. I apply it with a cloth around the edges, and then I drag it and wipe it towards the center. And I am done. This came out beautifully. For the final DIY, I'm going to be using this wooden house from Dollar Tree, this 5-gallon paint stir stick left over from a prior DIY, and this synthetic leather from Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to trim the paint stick down to the length of the house, so I measure, mark, and trim the paint stick down. I'm going to apply the leather on the house, so I carefully pop out the backing board. I'm going to remove the paper that was on it, and I do that by rubbing a lightly damp cloth over to loosen it up. This will be the back because I do want a nice clean surface for the inside of the house. I'm going to paint the bottom portion of the house black, so I tape off the section I don't want painted. I'm using black from Craftsmart, and I apply that with a foam brush. Be careful around the edge of the tape because you don't want that getting through. So just paint downward strokes around the tape. I also apply the paint on the paint stick as well. I am going to cut the leather to the shape of the house, so I place the backing board on top of it, and then I use a utility knife to trim off the house. I'm going to use Titebond's multi-surface glue to adhere the leather to the board. This glue does go on a little thick, so to prevent any lumps, I use a brush to flatten it down. Then I place the leather on top and smooth it out. I peel off the tape, and I glue the paint stick towards the front of the base like so, and this will extend the bottom surface. I glue the board back and place this little wooden gather sign that I made using a paint stick that I trimmed to fit and a rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree, and I place that towards the top. And this house is done. Now you can place little fall pumpkins and pine cones or whatever you want inside the house. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these quick and simple fall DIYs. Don't forget to check out Blondie Next Door. Her video and channel are linked below. Until next time, bye!